Hey, what's up? It's Clayton Olson, and in this video, we're going to talk about dating anxiety, relationship anxiety, and what to do if you generally feel insecure when it comes to the game of love. I think this topic is incredibly important because over the last 8 years of working with people, helping them create more secure connections and lives that feel empowering and that they can enjoy, anxiety and insecurity is at the heart of so much suffering. So if you're coming to this video and watching it because you're dealing with some anxiety, whether it's small or large in your relationship or whether you're single, my attempt here is to open up a new paradigm in where you can begin to see your life, you can begin to see relationship through a different lens that will allow you to source your security within you rather than on the things that you can't control. I know that's a bold claim, but hang with me here. The concept that we're going to talk about today is finite versus infinite games. This is something I'm really excited about. I've been chewing on this topic for a while, ever since I've been introduced to it a couple months ago. And I have been noticing that finite thinking versus infinite thinking is at the heart of so much of the coaching that I actually do. And they're given these names, these concepts, I've been able to see things even more clearly in my life where I'm playing a finite game or I'm stuck in finite thinking that is limiting my potential, that's causing anxiety, causing fear. And by switching into infinite thinking or playing an infinite game, it's virtually solved problems and shifted my mindset in ways that have been really miraculous. And it's done that for my clients as well. So let's dive in, and we'll start by talking about the difference between finite thinking or finite games versus infinite games. So at a high level, finite games are the games that have clear rules and where the goal is to win and beat your opponent. Infinite games are games where the rules are less clear and the objective is to not beat someone, but to keep the game going. And the reason I'm talking about this right now is because I believe that at the heart of our anxiety, at the heart of a lot of fear that one might experience in a relationship, in dating, it's coming from playing the game through a finite mindset, through a finite lens. And if we can just maneuver ourselves into seeing the situation through an infinite lens, it can virtually solve that anxiety or give us the tools to deal with that anxiety in a completely different way. So I'm going to go through a couple different examples of what finite thinking might look like in your current relationship or in dating. And then I will juxtapose that against what infinite thinking or infinite mindset would look like. So the first example of finite mindset. So how do you know that you are in a finite mindset? So one way you'll know is you are focused on the result. Okay, so maybe you're just getting to know somebody and you're focused on how do I get them attracted to me? If you're in a relationship with them, or let's just say that you're in the courting phase and you don't have a label yet. Maybe you're thinking, okay, well, I need to get them to be my girlfriend or to be my boyfriend. Or maybe you're in a relationship fully and you're thinking, well, now how do we bring it to marriage? Because the place that I'm at, now this is the key thing. The place that I'm at, I feel anxious. And I believe that if I get them attracted to me, if we get some type of label wrapped around what we're doing, or we make it super official with marriage and the commitment happens, then I can finally relax and I no longer will feel insecure or anxious. Now, this creates anxiety because we are putting our sense of security outside of us onto circumstances that we actually have no control over. And you can see how this can just breed one to feeling powerless in a certain situation, which when I tap into my own life and I tap into the lives of the clients that I work with, a lot of the anxiety spawns from these external mile markers that we put out that we believe really matter, but are in some ways are arbitrary, that if that happens, then we can feel a certain way. Then we give ourselves permission to feel a certain way. The switch, here's the maneuver. To infinite thinking, what it looks like is, number one, we have to realize that there is no end game in relationship. The infinite player isn't focused on a label or a destination to get to with the person they're attracted to. They know that there isn't a place out there that's going to give them security. And here's how they know that. Feelings change. People break up all the time. Even if you get married to somebody, 50% of those relationships end in divorce. So we can see that if we're putting all of our eggs in this basket of what we think is going to bring us security with how someone feels, a label, maybe the words someone says to us, or whether they make a commitment, that it's just an illusion of security that's actually going to give us. So what does the infinite player focus on instead? If we don't focus on those things that ultimately give an illusion of security, what does the infinite player actually focus on? Well, the infinite player is focused on who they are becoming in the connection in the relationship. They're focused on the qualities and the characteristics that they are developing being in the crucible of this relationship, in the crucible of the anxiety. They're realizing that the security is not going to come from outside of themselves, so that it's an opportunity for them to learn to self-soothe, for them to learn how to show up for themselves and create the security they're looking for inside of themselves, and then to come from that place rather than looking for their partner to give them the security. They are creating the security within themselves, and then they are bringing that as an offering into their relationship, and they're building from that foundation. That's what the infinite player is doing. Another way of putting this too is they're not focused on the commitment, they're focused on the connection. They're focused on creating a connection with themselves during the time that they feel anxious and creating a powerful connection with the person that they're with, because in the end, what it all boils down to is the connection that you have with the person. It's not about the labels, it's not about what the person says, it's about the quality of connection you have with them. Another way that this finite thinking shows up in dating and relationships is through these questions around power. Who has the power? Do I have the power? Do they have the power? Are they more attracted to me than I am to them? And if we get stuck in this thinking, here's the result. We end up in a competitive mindset where there's a winner and a loser with the exact person that we're trying to create something with. So we end up being in a competition rather than being in a collaborative mindset. And this competition is very destructive because it typically results in game playing, emotional withholding, and you strategizing and being stuck in your head overthinking things around what's the right thing to say, what's the wrong thing to say, which just breeds more anxiety. So the infinite player in this realm, they're not looking at their potential partner or partner through the lens of, am I in competition with them? They see that that person is on the same team as them and they are in a collaborative mindset. And the way that they shift into this collaborative mindset is by looking forward into the future and designing consciously with their partner. And maybe they're not necessarily expressing that right in the beginning, but they are holding true and acting in accordance to a vision they're wanting to create for a relationship that is out there. They're letting the vision of the relationship, the ideal vision of the relationship, guide their actions rather than their partner's actions guide their action, right? And the partner pulls away and now they're worried about that they don't have the power. Their partner comes close and now they feel comfortable because they feel like they've got the power. So they're out of the weeds and they're focused on the vision of where they're going. So another way that finite thinking shows up in relationship is if you are seeing relationship primarily as a place where you can get your needs met as a human being. If you are trying to get your needs met from your partner, this is the perfect breeding ground for anxiety, because this results typically in some type of scorekeeping, where even your acts of generosity are being tallied silently in the background. And you're hoping that because you're giving, then you'll finally receive the thing that you're so desperately wanting. Now, that's not to say that a relationship isn't a place where you can get your needs met, because if we're not getting any of our needs met, this can end up in sacrifice and poor boundaries. But what the infinite player is doing in this situation is on the hierarchy of why they're in the relationship is they're seeing that relationship is actually primarily a place for them to give something. It is a platform for them to play all out and express something within themselves that has the opportunity to be expressed. Loving, generosity, trust, giving. Not giving to receive, but giving just as an act of expression, and the giving itself and the being who you get to be in the relationship is the reward, not the result necessarily that you get or the reaction you get from the other person. So relationship to the infinite player is not a bank account that you are withdrawing from. It is a platform for you to play a game and be your best self. And finally, another way that finite thinking shows up in relationship and dating is the finite player sees other people outside of the relationship, exes, friends, coworkers, as threats rather than inspiration. The infinite player sees other people outside the relationship as inspiration, other people that perhaps are better looking, make more money, have more gregarious personalities. They don't get threatened by those people. They actually admire and are inspired by them. Where the finite thinker gets jealous and insecure because they see that other person as a threat to what they have with their potential partner or partner. And the problem with that is when we create somebody and we see them as a threat, they then become a threat. And we're discounting ourselves, we're discounting our own value, which naturally is going to crack the foundation of our security and have us showing up insecure, controlling, jealous, and really not setting the relationship or the connection up for something that's going to last a long time. So listen, if you can relate to any of this finite thinking, know that you're not alone. Most of the dating and relationship material out there teaches relationship from a finite game. How to get the person attracted to you, how to get them to commit, how to reconcile with a partner. And there's nothing wrong with finite thinking when it's in the right context. I think we need finite thinking in order to achieve goals and to be able to not get overwhelmed by things. Finite thinking can lead to a lot of forward movement, especially in goal setting. However, in the realm of relationship, if we're stuck in finite thinking, we are really limiting who we can become in the process. Finite thinking, the shadow side of it is we can end up feeling like a victim in relationship if we're not getting the thing that we want. Where in infinite thinking, the infinite player has this truly phenomenal ability to alchemize any surprises, any anxiety, anything that is not necessarily going as planned, and they're able to see it as possibly a teacher or a gateway for them to become a better human being, because the game that they're playing is, who can I become as a result of what's happening outside of me? What can I learn from this? How can this teach me to be a better person? How can this be fuel to transform me into the man or the woman that I'm wanting to become? That's the power of infinite thinking, and that's what I really hope that you're taking away from this video today. Because I know that during these times where anxiety is on high right now, it's really going to take a shift in our mindset in order for us to create ourselves in the way that we want to be and not become broken down and bitter and filled with more fear. So if you like this video and you want to leave a comment or a question, or even talk about how you see infinite thinking and finite thinking apply in your life, please do so below. If this is your first time on my channel, I encourage you to subscribe, click the bell notification, and I appreciate your attention.